everybody, welcome to our first virtual cooking demo lunch and learn. For those of you who have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Piers. I'm the director of the Health and Wellness Center here on campus. I'm also part of the Health and Wellness team. When our team met just recently talking about all the different virtual programs that we'd be able to provide to you, I was really excited about potentially providing some cooking demos to everybody at home during this social distancing period, because for one, I love cooking, and there's nothing like cooking in your own space and in your own home. So I offered to do the first cooking demo. So welcome to my kitchen. So the recipe today is called a meatball gnocchi soup. Okay, so our recipe today will include chicken broth, 4 cups, which is great because this is a full 4-cup container. Obviously, the nutritional benefits of 40% less sodium would be ideal to use. We will be using 26 ounces of finely chopped tomatoes. I like this brand. You can use any brand that you want. And again, no need for measuring cup. We'll be using the entire container of this. We have pinto beans here, which again, you can interchange with other types of beans that you might like, garbanzo beans or black beans or any other type of bean that you like instead of pinto beans. We have some washed carrots and celery that we will be chopping for the soup. We have, these are gnocchis. These are a pasta that are made out of potato. You can purchase these at the store as is. I personally like to make these on my own. I like to make these homemade, but for the purposes of this demo, I chose to buy the packaged ones. These are nice because you can also make these fresh with butternut squash along with flour and eggs, and you can roll these to the consistency of Play-Doh and chop them up, and those can actually go into your freezer for future use, and just more of a healthier kind of gnocchi is the butternut squash. Also, we have Hamburg here, which is 90% lean. Again, this can be interchanged with different types of protein, such as sausage or ground chicken, ground turkey. You can also get a rotisserie chicken that's already cooked. That will be easy as well. So that's our protein. Spices we will be using will be basil, parsley, and garlic powder. These, again, if you have fresh parsley and basil in your pantry, go ahead and use the fresh spices as well. This recipe also calls for oregano, which it will be listed on the recipe. I personally don't care for oregano, so I have left that off for today. For our meatballs, we will be using whole wheat breadcrumbs, which contain more fiber than regular breadcrumbs, and so I like to use whole wheat breadcrumbs in most of my recipes. Along with the breadcrumbs, we will be using fresh grated Parmesan cheese. Not everybody has this in the refrigerator. If you do not have this and want to use grated Parmesan cheese in the can that most people have in the refrigerator, you can also choose to use that. We'll be using a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and some fresh green leafy spinach. Okay, so we're gonna get started here with chopping of our vegetables. This is probably my favorite thing in my kitchen. I bought this a long time ago. It's called the Chop Wizard. You can actually purchase this on Amazon if you like this. I use this all the time. It also has an interchangeable blade in it that can be used for make smaller vegetables, but for this particular soup, I like to use this one. Before we get started, we're going to just cut the celery to make it fit into our Chop Wizard. It's one of those vegetables that a lot of people don't think is very nutritious, but it is. It's actually got great sources of antioxidants. It's good to protect cells and blood vessels and organs. It contains vitamin A, C, and vitamin K. celery has a lot more benefits than even I had known. So I tend to put a little more vegetables than the recipe calls for. So a lot of times, this actually called for 1 stalk of celery, but I like to use a little bit more. So you just leave that celery in there, and then we move on to the carrots. Carrots is another root vegetable. It is often claimed to be one of the healthiest and healthiest foods. It's highly nutritious, a lot of vitamin A, which is good for our eyes. We'll be adding the vegetables to the pan and adding a little bit of olive oil to this, and then onto the stove. We have our ground beef. Again, I told you we would change it up with different types of meats. We will take our ground beef. We will add our breadcrumbs to this, as well as grated cheese. And just go ahead and mix that up really, really well. You can utilize rotisserie. Okay, next we're gonna actually put in our chicken broth. Our carrots and celery are all set to go. There's no pan-fried meatballs, which most recipes call for. Spinach, very, very healthy and nutritious. Again, it's a green leafy vegetable. Spinach is one of those vegetables that's really essential to everybody's diet. It has vitamin K, which is essential for blood clotting. It's got folic acid in it. It also is very rich in iron, which helps bring oxygen to the blood. Tomatoes, another nutritious vegetable that are filled with antioxidants. Tomatoes are also a really good source of vitamin C, potassium, folate, and vitamin K. Tomatoes help with cancer prevention and heart health, and they also have benefits for skin health. Tomatoes are in, we're going to add our spices. We're going to start with our parsley. Again, parsley is one of those things that, I don't really measure all the time. The recipe calls for 1 tablespoonful, but a lot of times I just kind of judge it and what I like to use. Same with the basil. Basil calls for 1 tablespoon, so I'll put that in there. And then the garlic powder. If you like a lot of garlic, you can add more. This calls for 1/2 teaspoon, which I like to use. And that's it for the spices. Okay, once that is all stirred, we are going to add our pinto beans. This will be the last thing before our gnocchi. And in goes the pinto beans. So we're gonna let that do its thing. And then the last thing we'll be adding is the gnocchi, and then our soup will be ready to eat. These are going to go into the soup now. While the soup is simmering, I'm going to give it a little stir. the gnocchi actually rises to the top, and then they'll be ready to go. Looks like our soup is all done and it looks delicious and it smells good. Okay. We're gonna scoop ourselves a couple bowls. Okay, well that concludes our first cooking demo. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. I had a lot of fun doing this, and hopefully we'll be able to provide you some more of these in the near future. Feel free to reach out to the Health and Wellness team for any ideas or anything that you might have for us to make for you guys, and we'd be happy to give it a try. Stay healthy, stay well, continue practicing social distancing, and we'll hope to see you soon.